Hello and welcome back to Down the Slope. Me and Ryan always get excited to try and time the start of the episodes going live. So welcome back, everybody. Not too much in the way of Hibs action, but we've got a game coming up this weekend, so we thought we won't leave you without an episode. But Ryan, how are we doing, mate?
I'm all right, mate. Thanks for asking. Looking forward to domestic football being back, as well as Scotland are doing. I'm just not a massive international football fan, so looking forward to Hibs being back.
Hey, no, exactly. And then what have you been up to? We asked at the start of the week what you were going to get up to on your weekend. Did you get anything fun done without Hibs action?
Just sat in a darkened room, mate. It's the only thing you can do without Hibs in it.
No,
Nah,
exactly.
there was things to be done. There was things to be done. There's a family coming over from Ireland this weekend coming, so there was a couple of things to be done around the house. So I had my orders. There was a big list of things to do.
Nice, mate. And as you'll see, it's just currently two of us, but a certain someone was running late, and we're currently letting him in. You won't be able to see, but Greg is running about 4 minutes late, as he likes to do on these weekly things. But Ryan, what should the punishment be for Greg when he's late every week?
Send nudes.
Oh, the man of
Oh,
the
that's
hour. Nice of you to join us. 4 minutes and 30
oh,
seconds after the hour. Greg, how are we doing?
not good enough. Yeah, I'm all good, mate. I'm all good.
He's just at the sauna.
Ooh, back to the sauna again, Greg. But what did you get up to in your week off, Greg? That's what we were just touching on.
Uh, when I get up to my week off, not a lot, mate. Really, missing the football. Um, yeah, a couple of bits and bobs. But we tripped at a couple of garden centres on Saturday. So, but yeah, it's not great without the football. But I did go and watch Spartans as well. To be fair, so I did get my football fix.
Very nice. And speaking of football fix, Ryan touched on it. The Scotland game. Did you catch both of them? What were the thoughts after that?
I watched that bit, to be honest. Um, Xander Clark's a joker. That's about it.
Mate, put it perfectly. And we're going to do a bit of a different episode. Normally, we have the game to look back on the weekend gone, then the game to look forward to in the week ahead. However, we've not got the game to look back on, so we're going to do a bit more of an in-depth look at the Dundee game, a team that's punching a bit above their weight this season, I think it's fair to say. So, Ryan, you like delving into stats. So what have you seen of this Dundee team so far this season, and what does the stats sheet say that Hibs should be expecting?
Yeah, I think Dundee are a team that maybe nobody expected to start in the way that they have. They've done well to pick up as many points as they have thus far in the season. So I've been impressed by that. They're a team that do create a lot of chances for themselves. They've got quite a high XG. However, on the flip side of that, they do give up a lot of quality chances as well. It seems to me like defensively they've kept it quite solid at the back. They've kept 6 clean sheets this season. Um, they average about 16 tackles a game. And clearances and interceptions is a high number as well. So typically, like a kind of Derek McInnes type team, Doherty seems to be going the same way, which is no surprise given that they worked together for so long. But the hope is that Hibs can kind of exploit the fact that they give up high quality chances. And I think Liam touched on last week's episode what he wanted us to do in the break, and it was to work on maybe creating those quality chances and be more creative. So if that is something that we have done, it's an area in which we could maybe exploit Dundee.
And Greg, yourself, obviously, in most seasons, Dundee come up, get battered a lot, go back down again. We've seen a bit of a different team, and in their last game, they ended up winning 4-0 over St Mirren. Is this a game you think that Hibs should be a bit cautious over, or should we be expecting to win this game?
Dundee's never really an easy place to go. I don't know what Hibs' record over the years is like there, but it doesn't really seem like a place where we really get a lot of joy. Um, but yeah, look, I think you've got to be cautious. They've had a decent start to this season. Ryan was rhyming off a few stats there, so I think you do need to be cautious, but I don't think there's anything to be scared of. I think we can absolutely go there and win the game.
And in terms of how you're expecting Hibs to set up, I think we all know the formation and the format, but I think we've
Yeah.
got a few extra players back that are fit now that maybe weren't available before the break. Ryan, start walking us through the team. Me and Greg can join in, but from the back, who are you starting in goals, and then walk through the defence?
Marshall, Miller, Abita, Rocky, and Fish. I think at the minute that's a given. A lot of people have kind of been saying we're quite leaky at the back, but I've said this a couple of times now, it's a collective effort when you're defending, and I don't think any of those players have made, like, any of the back four outfield players in particular have made any glaring errors that have kind of led directly to goals. I think they've been fairly solid and they've all struck up a decent partnership. They're good as a unit and they work well together. They complement each other. So I'd be comfortable with that going into this game on Saturday. As for the midfield, I'll probably leave that to Greg. That seems to be his kind of forte.
And just before we touch on that, Greg, in terms of the goalkeeper situation, Ryan's went straight into saying Marshall. I know that Liam's opinion is we spent money on Wallacott. Would you want to see Wallacott given another chance, or do you think we stick with Marshall because he's not really had a clanger in a while?
I don't know, but when is the next clanger coming? It's a tough one because obviously Marshall kicked a clean sheet in the last game. I want to see Wallacott play though. I do. I want to see him get a run of games and see what he can do. So I would have to say Wallacott. I think Marshall has got a mistake in him. Wallacott obviously didn't cover himself in glory against Ross County, but you give him a run of games and see what he can do. He is ultimately the long-term option at this point because he's the one that we signed to be a number one. So I don't understand why we wouldn't play him.
I have to say I do agree with Greg in that sentiment. It was a toss of a coin really for who I would pick in goals. I would also like to see Wallacott on a kind of bigger sample size. Another favourite of Liam's. I don't think you can judge him off a pre-season game at Blackpool and then the game against Ross County. I know he made an error, but keepers are prone to it, especially if they're wearing a Hibs jersey. We need to see him kind of more like a more consistent basis in the team to kind of judge him, you know.
Yeah, because I was impressed with him at Blackpool. Obviously, it's not really a great game to judge him on, but I was really impressed with him. Me and Ryan both said that.
We're waxing lyrical in the terraces like that.
and then he wasn't seen for a while. So.
Do you know what? See, when it comes to Wallacott, I think he was just really, really unfortunate with that injury because he was put in the Europa League game, the conference game, and that was kind of a signal of intent going forward for me anyway. Like, this is my keeper, this is who I'm going to back. He picks up the injury. It was just really, really bad timing,
Absolutely. And to be honest, I think during that period, Marshall had quite a few clangers, to be honest. Like Villa away, obviously the first goal was him. Luzerne at home was him, you know, so he made mistakes, and I think that if Wallacott was fit, he would have come back in, but it just happened that Marshall's injury wasn't as bad, so he was back quicker, and Wallacott was out for a longer period of time, unfortunately. But yeah, it's a tough one because the goalie situation hasn't been great for us this season at all. I think the only one that's probably covered himself in glory is probably Boric, and the sample size is tiny, so.
Clean sheet at Tynecastle, mate. Not many people can say that. That's the holy goalie. The thing is, I've touched on, I think the way that Montgomery wants us to play is definitely out through the back, and I think watching Marshall, I don't think it's his favourite aspect of play. I think he's definitely improved in it in recent times, but I think Wallacott's probably more comfortable. The only problem is in the one game Wallacott played, I think that's potentially the worst clanger of the season. The more I've watched it back, the missed high ball was a disaster, and that's essentially what lost us points at home to Ross County.
Just on Wallacott there, this isn't like a priority of mine, a goalkeeper being good with their feet, but we have to accept that in this style of play that Montgomery wants to play, that is going to be something that happens regularly. Yeah. And I thought, albeit he had a clanger against Ross County, I thought he was really good with his feet. As I say, it's not really a priority of mine, but he seemed to be really comfortable with the ball at his feet, and he was capable of drilling it a wee bit longer with accuracy into the wing backs as well. I was actually quite impressed with his distribution. And he went and fucked it all up, didn't he? Missed a punch. But there we go.
Indeed.
But I think that comes from lack of that sharpness, to be honest.
I think goalkeepers need to play regularly. Like, I believe it. I believe they need to play regularly. It's a totally different position to any other on the pitch.
Yeah.
And on YouTube, Mike has joined the chat and said, "Evening, gents." Evening to you, Mr. Michael. We've got a question from him that we'll get onto in a wee bit. But Greg, talk to me about the midfield that you would like us to see. Just assume that we've got a flat four in there.
The what?
The midfield.
The midfield.
Okay. I don't know. Definitely Newland Levitt. In the middle of the park, Yuan. Um, I'm just really not sure about Martin Boyle though. I'm really not sure about him. He's not been good enough recently. But I think due to lack of depth in that area, he probably starts. But if I'm honest, I don't think he deserves to start though. He's not been good enough recently, and that's simple as that. Obviously, he got an assist against Kelly. You know, he did do well, but up to that point, I've just not been impressed with him recently. Superman away, he didn't even get on. Obviously injured himself, celebrated this little goal in the semi. He wasn't great in the semi either. So I don't know. I think he's got a lot to do, but he probably is one of the players that can change it and can impact the game. So, but we need to see more of that from him. We've not seen enough of that recently.
Do you think it's a given that he will start? I mean, he's been away with Australia. There's obviously travel involved in however many minutes he's played. I don't think Tavares really deserves to come into the team. He was really, really good against Kilmarnock. He looked the most dangerous player on the pitch for us. So.
Yeah,
it's
to
a
be
hard
honest,
one.
it's quite a good shout though. Maybe playing Tavares on one side and Yuan on the other, but I feel like Tavares and Yuan are probably both suited on the left. But if we could get them into the team together, one on the right, one on the left, and I'd be all for that. But yeah, a lot of travelling for Boyle. But I don't really want to make an excuse out of that.
Yeah, I do agree with you. He's not really hit the heights that we expect from him. I mean, like we've obviously got high expectations, but he kind of set that bar for himself, you know.
Absolutely, mate. And do you know what? The injury probably hasn't helped him and whatever else. But you know, I do expect a little bit more from him. When you look at the way Tavares is playing and the way that Yuan's playing, I feel like you can't really take them out. You almost need to let them play, and Boyle probably drops out. Campbell's been good playing off the striker, so you can't really drop him. He's got 2 and 2. You know, Venta is probably the only fit striker at the moment. Lafondra's not fully fit, so he picks himself. The only real issue is Boyle's position.
No, you're right.
Are we definitely starting Venta and Campbell as a front two, as such? I've done inverted commas if you're not watching the video. So essentially what we're rocking with is Walcott, Abita, Rocky, Fish, Miller, Yuan, did we agree on for left side?
I would say so, yeah.
If Jego's fit, has he got a shout to come back in, or be rocking with Levitt and Newell?
I think we go with Levitt and Newell, two of them with incredible ability together. Dylan Levitt can pick teams apart from deep, which is useful. And Joe Newell just gives you that drive in the midfield as well.
And are we rocking with Tavares or Boyle on the right, Ryan? You make the final call.
No, I'll go Tavares. I think he's been on form more so than what Martin Boyle has. He's shown more in the past 3-4 games that would be deserving of a start. I don't think you can bring him out the team based off what he's given us in the last couple of games. Like, he deserves to play. I think it would maybe be another one of those blows to his confidence if we took him out based off him not doing anything wrong. He's done quite a lot right. Just on the midfield too, Greg's went for Levitt and Jego. Levitt and Newell. A lot of people would maybe be shouting for Jego to come back into this game, but I think we do need somebody to pick apart a team from deeper. Dundee primarily, over the course of the season, have only had about 41% possession. So they are a team that look to kind of sit deep and counter-attack. They've had a lot of success from counter-attack, and I know they've got players with pace on the break. So we're going to see a lot of the ball, which is fine. It suits us sometimes. But we do need that kind of threat, that, like a quarterback almost, that can kind of pick the passes and the tempo of the play and the direction of where we're going to go.
Don't disagree with you. And then up top, is Boyle coming in over Campbell, or are we going to rock Venta and Campbell? What are we thinking?
I think that Venta and Campbell worked against St Mirren, and it worked against Kilmarnock. Montgomery likes one of the strikers to come deep. And with Campbell being like naturally a centre midfielder, it kind of suits him coming deep and linking the play a little bit. I know he's not really strong when he's back to goal, but he's still kind of familiar in that part of the pitch. So if he can come and do that and then make his late runs into the box where he's had success, or third man running off a ball carrier, and he's scored 2 goals in 2 games. Again, can you drop a player that scored 2 and 2 and played fairly well?
Yeah, no,
I think between the midfield and striker probably suits Campbell. He does enough to do the midfield work. I wouldn't say that's his strongest attribute, but he will pop up and get you goals. So in that final third, he is effective. So yeah, he's not got the attributes to play central midfield, especially that too. But I do think further on, playing off the striker, while Lafondra is unavailable, I think definitely suits him, and it's probably more comfortable for him as well.
He's got a real knack of making the right run at the right time, hasn't he? He just manages to kind of find a pocket of space and create an opportunity.
But he's hopeless when he plays up front.
It's so strange, isn't it?
He's in between, but look like he's got good ability, and he can score goals, which is always useful.
And just before we move on to the listener questions from Twitter, Kevin Maddox has joined us, and as always, my favourite part of any episode. Hi boys, Kev from Newcastle.
Yes, Kev. Blackpool memories, lad.
He said, just the Blackpool crew tonight, quality, not quantity. Ooh, damn! I think that's unintentional heat directed towards you and Liam. Take that, boys.
Love you, Kev.
I wasn't there, but I'm going to claim part of the Blackpool crew tonight. He said, do you think the home crowd would get behind playing out from the back if there was more tempo? At times it is painful to watch. Do you think that the kind of pick and prod way of playing football, where we're trying to like ease our way through or kind of find a hole in the defence, is kind of what's making fans so annoyed? Or do you think it's just playing out from the back in general?
I don't think it works with a high tempo unless you have players of the quality of a Man City or a Barcelona that done it originally with Pep. I think we're not blessed with natural ability when it comes to playing out from the back, but we also need that slower tempo and the time to draw teams onto us to create space further up the park. It's all done with a purpose. I do agree, though, that people can become impatient, and that's maybe why there's moans and groans from the stand. But I think the slower pace is done with a purpose to draw teams out in order for us to get more space higher up the park when we've got our attacking threats there. I'm not sure if Greg's in agreement or not, but that's just my point of view. That's how I see it.
Yeah, I think the panicking when we play it for the back is so unnecessary. Like you need to try and pull teams in to get past them and get through them. Like, do you know what? We will make mistakes, but these players play for Hibs. Every player and every team makes mistakes, so I think we need to calm down with it. It's not as bad as what people make out. I actually would much rather see us try and play it for the back than shell it 60, 70 yards to watch it come all the way back. So it's all about risk and reward, but I definitely think that there's an element of panic when it happens, and whether that's the fans don't trust the players doing it, I don't know. I mean, obviously enough's been spoken about Rocky, and people not believing he's great on the ball, but I think he's absolutely fine on the ball, to be honest, and he will carry it. And you've got ball players around him in the midfield, so it's just when fans start shouting to shell it and then get annoyed when it comes all the way back. So, but you can have it both ways.
Yeah, I've got 2 things. First thing's Rocky made the most accurate passes against Kilmarnock, 54 or something like that. So he's not bad on the ball. Yeah. I think it's maybe a bit of a misconception from some people. But do you think that the moaning and the groaning and the overreaction is because it's something that Hibs fans haven't really seen for a long time? It's like alien. It's what we're not used to.
Yeah, I think because it's new and the way that Montgomery wants to do it is new. I think it's almost a bit of a shock, but I just think it's the best way to play. I really do, because you pull teams in. Teams will happily come East Road and sit in.
Mm-hmm. You're right.
You need to try and pull them out of position and create pockets of space somehow, and that's the best way to do it. And even when you're going away for home, you want to keep the ball. You know, you want to keep possession. You want to move it about. You know, you want to move them about. So I think that the way that we do it is risky, but it shows every other team did it. It doesn't matter who you are. It's always a risk because one mistake could lead to a goal, but at the same time, if you get it right, it's going to be successful.
See, also when you get it right, it's really good to watch. Really good
because it's very aesthetically pleasing on the eye. Like it's so good.
It is good. I also think like the further up the pitch it gets, the more tempo there is to it because you build up momentum and you've got runners off the ball. I think it's great when it works. It's just a time thing, you know. We need time for the players to get used to it. They've never been asked to do it before, so I like it. I like it. It's different.
I think as well, you need to trigger it at the right time. You know, you can knock it about, but you also need to trigger it going forward at the right time. Just love watching players knock about in triangles. Like it's so good.
I love the idea of Hibs being in control of games.
Absolutely.
And to have control, you need to have the ball primarily. So having high possession numbers is quite pleasing. Like obviously, we need to convert all the metrics into 3 points at the end of it. But I personally think we're going the right way about it. I've said for a couple of weeks now we've not seen a complete performance, but we're getting bits to the game right. It's just about getting it all tied together, which will happen.
Well, absolutely, I'm going the right way about it. Like, I just think that the way that we're playing is the way that we want. Most fans want to see Hibs play. Like, there was no style under Lee Johnson. There was no real identity, but under Montgomery, you could see it straight away.
And another couple of YouTube comments. Mike Hibs said, think the Jago or Levitt debate depends on the opposition. Levitt better when we are going to have more of the ball, and Jago when we will have less. Worked well when they were both as well, and I think. Being honest, I think that if we could have the wingers consistently effective in the way that they should be playing. Not a slight on Montgomery. I think it's mainly because Yuan and Boyle are both relatively patchy this season. I actually think Diego and Levitt could potentially give us the best balance in the team. I think that our attacking options should be able to get in situations where they can kind of take over games without needing much substance from the midfield. So I don't actually hate the concept of Levitt and Diego. Will Levitt kind of like pulling the trigger from deep and kind of launching runs. I know obviously we all love Joe Newell, but I don't actually think that Levitt and Diego would be a bad combination. But it's kind of difficult to drop me on, though he's kind of the almost captain this year with Hanlon not getting much game time. But that's just my 2 cents on potentially seeing Diego and Levitt together. Is that something you guys could think as a combo, or would that only be if we were dropping Newell out of the team?
Yeah, Newell doesn't get dropped. So sorry, Harry, but no.
If circumstances go in that direction that we have to play the two of them, it would probably work. Usually, I would say if we're going away from home to a team that are playing well and above us in the league, that Diego wouldn't be a bad shout. But Dundee are a counter-attacking team. We're going to have the majority of the ball, and we're going to need to pick them open. And whether we all agree or not, Dylan Levitt's probably our best ball player.
I think Montgomery sets up to have the ball most weeks, and control it. So for me, it's Newell and Levitt, and from what I've seen of Jimmy Diego at St Mirren away, he didn't do ultimately what his job is, and that's to break up attacks and be stuffy. So yeah, the only way that Diego gets in is either a Joe Newell suspension, which is a very real possibility, or a Dylan Levitt injury.
Yeah, actually, on that wee debate, I don't know if you remember, but I put up a couple of stats that compared Diego's last 90 minutes to Levitt's, and in terms of the defensive side of the game, they were both fairly equal. So again, it's maybe a little bit of a misconception that Levitt can't do the more defensive side of the game. I think he was equal in the amount of tackles, duels won, recoveries, interceptions. So although they may appear like different players, they can both. Levitt can do the job asked of him when required. Yep. Obviously, it's not his primary kind of focus, but he can do it.
I tell you what, he can pick out a pass as well. Like his assist for Zaire at home to Ross County was just utter filth. So not only can he do what Diego does, he can also play, which I feel like Diego's Jago can't play as well. He's maybe not got the distribution attributes, but Dylan Levitt is probably more of an all-round player. Probably a bit like Joe Newell, but with different sort of styles.
And then also in the YouTube comment section, Jason Ladd said, bring Boyle on around the hour mark if benched, although I'd start him up top with Campbell. Jason, let us know if that means you would drop Venta out and then start Campbell and Boyle up top, because that would be a searing hot take. But fair play if that's what you're thinking. And Kev Maddox said, good answer, boys. Just popped to get a dictionary and find out what aesthetically means. So we're educating
Wow.
our friend Kev. So that
I
is
hope
good
I used
stuff.
in the right context, actually.
No, you did, mate. Aesthetically sounds something's
perfect.
pleasing.
You're
on
fine,
the eye.
lad.
Don't you
You're
worry,
fine.
mate. You
We'll
smashed
protect
it.
you. We've
Thesaurus / dictionary has on the go. But a couple of questions we got from the old Twitter. Mike Hibs, who's joined us today, he said, after Marv's post-match interview, that being Marvin Bartley, manager of Queen of the South, interview at the weekend, what's the weirdest / most random excuse you've heard from a manager for losing a game? Favourite I've heard was, I think the boss of Ukraine, could be wrong, was a long time ago, saying they lost because the team couldn't sleep due to frogs croaking too loudly outside their hotel. I'll get the ball rolling. My favourite was, of course, and he had quite a few, a certain Mr. Ian Cathro saying, we would have won that game if we didn't have goalposts. You would have goals to shoot into if there wasn't goalposts, you muppet. So is there anything that spring to mind for you guys? If you can't think of excuses, I'll let you have a manager quote instead, because I know that's relatively niche.
Did Jurgen Klopp not once say it was too windy?
Aye. I mean, he went through a phase of saying, like, the grass was too long, it was too windy.
Aye.
He'd probably say it's no windy enough if they ended up winning that game, though. So,
well, do you know what? Maybe I should take a wee trip down to Gale pitches. see how well he plays there. But no, I'm pretty sure he said it was too windy, which is mental. But
anything for yourself, Ryan?
Do you know, there's been that many, right? And it's probably no like an excuse or whatever, but like I watched this on like July Soccer Saturday at the time. Do you remember when Paolo Di Canio was going nuts about Wes Foderingham? That's like one of my favourite post-match interviews. League One Wes. Hilarious.
That's when he subbed him off after about 20 minutes, didn't he?
Aye, but I don't know if you've heard, like, I don't know how much truth's in it, but the Simon Ferry story about it, like he wasn't meant to be allowed back on the bus to go back to Swindon, but he was hiding on the back of the bus and that.
Oh my God.
He tells a good story, so it's probably bullshit, but it was funny.
And then we probably could have listed about 30 Lee Johnson ones as well. But we've done that.
She just done the Marvin Bartley one. I think that's just absolute nonsense. Like, I can't believe
at straws, like.
I just can't believe he's blaming his players for relaxing. Ultimately, I mean, I'd be very surprised if they were sitting in the same position for 8 hours. He said.
Like, see, the thing is, for me, if it's that important to be active the day before a game, don't give them their day off the day before a game.
Yeah.
Swap their day off to Thursday and then get them doing like light training or like cardio on the Friday. Like that for me is just either poor planning or a shit excuse. I wasn't having that at all. So
he's clutching at straws.
Yeah.
He's on a sugary peg, like. Sorry, Jay.
Oh, he's finished, to be honest. I think he's done. The writing's on the wall. It's just not worked out for him. It was obviously a bit of a gamble leaving Livingston. Fair play to him for trying to do it, but I think they started okay, but they've definitely tailed off, and he's really struggling now, and I think the writing's on the wall. But can I just say, see on that, Willie Gibson going in the Queen of the South fans group or whatever to basically pull folk up for wanting him out was peak cinch.
Oh man, that's incredible.
What a country of football, eh?
The only thing is they did get done dirty with us getting a bunch of goalkeeping injuries at the start of the season because they would have had Murray Johnson if I'm not mistaken, and he's an absolute baller. So,
yeah, they would have. But again, that's just the way it works. So we've got Jacob McIntyre though. So.
Player.
They've got McClelland as well, but I think everybody's forgotten that he's actually a Hibs player.
And he looked so good against, was it Cove Rangers? And then he never played for us again. Went out on loan for 2 seasons.
But he also looked horrific against Falkirk. So just a bit of balance, Harry. Just a bit of balance.
And then Also, and Jason Ladd said Lee Johnson has got Fleetwood moving. Fair play. Yeah, he lost like heavily in his first 3 games. I kept putting him on the ACA on the other side, and then they've just kind of flipped it around. They've won their last 3, I think. So fair play to wee Lee for
To be fair, it
Sorry.
was
that
fairly
sorted.
inconsistent at the start. Like there was losses, draws, and a couple of wins. It was inconsistent to be expected for Lee Johnson, but the last couple of games has been all right for him, unfortunately.
Sorry, it's Oscar McIntyre that's at Queen of the South.
Still a
But to be
player.
fair, Lee Johnson is League One. It's his level, really, isn't it?
Where he belongs.
So,
And then Albert Street said, "How good was the Women's Derby win at Easter Road the other day? How wonderful a player is Jorian Balcom?" Apologies if I've butchered her name.
I think she's
But
American, aye.
no,
You probably said it right there.
in terms of the derby, always good to see Hibs beating Hearts. I didn't watch the game. It's one of those things I kept up with it on the old Twitter. But always good to see Hibs beat Hearts. Did either of you catch the game or the highlights? The goals were pretty decent, to be fair.
I was indisposed at the time, but I think they've won the last 2 games against Hearts.
Yeah.
And do you get a cup every time you beat them? Is it the Capital Cup or something like that?
Yeah, Capital Cup. I'm not too keen on the Capital Cup concept, to be perfectly honest.
I don't like it. I don't
think-
like it. I don't understand why you need a cup when you beat your rivals. Like,
No,
I feel like it's a little bit tin pot.
it's maybe
I
to
think
like
it's like a-
incentivise fans to come along to the games and kind of boost the numbers for the derby. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I think it's definitely something PRable. I don't mind them trying something a bit different. I think it's great that they've
Yeah.
got initiatives such as getting fans there to the games for free. I think it's really nice, especially at a stadium like Easter Road. So the club will take a hit on that, putting it on, which I think is a really nice thing. In terms of how wonderful a player Jorian is, if I'm not mistaken, she's just pretty powerful. In terms of her goals, she picked the right time to get in the box. Yeah, I think she seems a good player. I can't say I've watched a lot of her, but from what I've seen, I think she looks pretty decent.
Scored a lot
Just
of
on the
goals
Capital
anyway.
Cup. Just
Pardon?
on the Cup. I'm sure Hibs and Hearts had a thing like this was years ago, maybe like 2005. Like it was one of the taxi companies sponsored like a pre-season friendly, and it was that was ultimately the same sort of concept. But I don't understand it in the league. I just
Well,
think as a concept in the league,
we've got a bit of an explanation. Charlie Banks, currently off Strong Opinions. I'm not really sure what's going on there. But he said Capital Cup is for the first 2 derbies, rest of the derbies for league points and paid entry. Never knew that, so it must be free. One free game per stadium. Which fair enough.
Fair enough. Well,
Cheers, Charlie.
I thought it was every game, so I stand corrected.
And Charlie, fair play to him, goes to a lot of the women's games. If you want to put in a bit about Jorian in the YouTube comment sections, then it means I can give something of substance. Because, as I say, we've not watched her much this season. And just for the next section, because that's all the listener questions. I've got a new game for you. It might just be a one-off game we play. But we'll see how it goes, and we'll see if you like it. It's called Blind 5. Who would like to go first? And then I'll explain the rules.
I'll go first then if Greg's not saying nothing.
Right, so essentially, you're going to list in order of who you think is the best player blindly out of 5 players that I'll name for you. So you're going to start off with the category of goalkeepers. So out of 1 to 5, you have to say how good they are without knowing the next options.
So just rank them, yeah?
Yeah, so rank them.
Okay.
So it's a blind rank, and then we'll see
Yeah,
how
yeah,
you
no
do
bother.
come the end of it. Yeah. Right,
Okay.
so you're starting off with a goalkeeper round because that's
So
the segment you started with.
am I basing this on ability or on my own preference?
You're basing it off ability.
Right, okay.
So 1 to 5, you're popping them in where you think they're best positioned.
No bother.
Okay, Eve McAlamby.
5.
Okay, Graham Stack.
Oh shit. 4.
Conrad Logan.
Jesus Christ. That's a pure sentimental one, eh? Off ability just.
Off ability. You've got 1, 2, and 3 available.
I know it's a small sample size for him though, isn't it? 3.
Andy McNeil. You've only got 1 and 2 available.
Oh, fuck's sake. Hey, he won the cup though. 2.
You got lucky there. Ophir Marciano is your number 1. So Ryan's top 5 Hibs goalkeepers of all time is Ophir Marciano, Andy McNeil, Conrad Logan, Graham Stack, and Eve McAlamby.
Can I just say, like, off my own kind of sentimental values of it, that Conrad Logan's obviously number 1. Ophir would be number 2, and then The rest don't matter.
Nice. Unfortunately, you can't change it now forever. That is your top 5 Hibs goalkeepers. Greg, are you wanting defenders or midfielders?
I'll go defenders, mate.
Defenders, cool. We'll do it in a row then. Okay, we're starting you off with James McPake.
I'll go 4,
Ryan McGivern.
5.
Yes.
I'm going to get done here. I just know I'm going to get done here.
Liam
big time.
Fontaine.
3.
Good choice.
I know there's
Paul
an absolute
Hanlon.
stinker coming.
Paul Hanlon.
2.
Uh-oh.
Greg's
Oh, no.
favourite and best
been
defender
done.
of all time is Sean O'Hanlon.
Wow. Done.
Oh, God.
Thanks,
Ryan.
Harry. Thanks for setting me up there, lad.
That is no worries, mate. You went first, Ryan, so you get choice. Would you rather strikers or midfielders?
Oh. Yeah, I'll just go midfielders, mate.
Midfielders, okay. We'll start you off with Ewan's favourite ever Hibs player, Stevie Mallon.
Stevie Mallon. Talking about the Dundee game brings back memories. So
Hey.
Heckenbottom's first away game, he scored a screamer, eh?
Aye.
3.
Everyone was absolutely buzzing about a quick throw-in.
Oh, I know, mate. It was all they talked about. Aye, I'll go 3 for Mallon.
Okay. Boozy.
Oh, Jesus. See, he might be the best one that you name. I'll go Boozy, number 1.
Okay. Owain Tudor-Jones.
Oh, Jesus, 5.
Patrick
6.
Craig.
That's just as bad, man. Luckily, I've left 4 open for him.
Oh, and your second best midfielder of all time is Super John McGinn.
Oh.
There you go. That was an obvious one. You should have saw that one coming.
Nah, no, but I thought you were going to leave like a really stinking one till the end to kind of do me, but...
No, that's
What,
what
like he done like me?
He's
He's a Judas, mate. He's an
done like
absolute
a
Judas.
kipper.
Boozy's not a bad shout for number 1, though, eh?
Yeah, no. So you went Boozy, McGinn,
Boozy was
Mallon.
absolute caviar, mate.
No, unbelievable. Like I'd have. Yeah, unbelievable player. All right, G, are you ready for the strikers?
Yep.
All right, we've got Christian Deutsch.
Oh, Jesus. We talked about scoring goals or defending corners here. Don't know, it's tough. I hate these blind ones. I'll go 4 because there's absolutely a stinker in here.
Okay, Kevin Nisbet.
Oof.
3.
Lewis Allen.
5.
Uh-oh.
But that better be the stinker, by the way.
Uh-oh.
It's definitely not, but...
Abdesalam Benjalin. You've got 1 and 2 available.
He's all right.
Benji.
He's going to get 2.
I'm torn because I think there's going to be a stinker coming. I'll go 2.
And Greg's
done
favourite
again.
ever Hibs striker is Roy O'Donovan.
You're a rat, mate. You're a rat.
Oh, guys, well, anybody watching or listening, I hope you enjoyed that daft game. Just to
Oh no, I'm
recap,
angry.
Oh.
we've got Ryan's favourite goalkeepers as Marciano, Andrew McNeil, Conrad Logan, Graham Stack, and then Yves Macalambi. From bottom to worst, Greg's top 5 Hibs defenders of all time is Ryan McGivern, James McPake, Liam Fontaine, Paul Hanlon, and then of course Sean O'Hanlon rounding us out. Ryan's actually done pretty well in the midfielders, to be fair. He's got as his worst Owain Tudor-Jones, then Patrick Craig, Stevie Mallon, John McGinn, then Boozy. And then Greg's strikers, he's got Lewis Allen 5th, Christian Deutsch, Kevin Nisbet, Benji, and then Greg's favourite ever Hibs striker is Roy O'Donovan.
Can I just jump in on Andy McNeil?
Of course you got him.
Longbyre's done an interview with him. I don't think it was overly long ago. If anybody wants to go back and listen to it, it's quite good. Got to shout out my homies, yeah. They shout us out.
Advertising for everyone else, aye.
They shout us out plenty, man.
No, get involved, boys. And then Jason Ladd said Benji was decent. Hughes ruined him. Mike said loved that. Craig said G done an absolute stinker there. Yeah, if you guys
Just
enjoyed
everyone's
that,
amusement. Thank you, Harry.
If you've enjoyed that, let us know, and then we can try and get Ewan and Liam a couple kippers as well.
I would love Ewan to get done kippers.
Yeah,
Like, he would be
indeed.
raging, eh? But see, for me, that's no right.
Yeah, I don't think that's the type of great game that would process in Ewan's head. But yeah, boys, talk to me about the result just before we log off. If we all give a quick score prediction for the weekend. Greg, we'll come to you first. What, Hibs travelling to Dundee? What's the score going to be?
I think it's going to be 3-2 Hibs.
Ooh, goal fest. Who's nabbing them for Hibs?
Venti double and Dylan Levitt.
Oh, very saucy. Dylan action. Ryan, talk to me. What's the score going to be?
Again, I'm going to hit you with a couple of stats. Dundee score an average of 1.2 goals per game. I think there'll be a game of goals in it for either side. I think we'll 2-1 win for Hibs. They'll definitely score, but I think we'll have the majority of the ball and be too much for them in the end.
Aye. And just one bit of tactical positioning for next time, Greg. Craig advised that putting Kevin Nisbet third was a mistake there. Being honest, I think
Should have been
Kevin
fifth.
Nisbet's definitely top 5 this century. So
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. A player that wanted to leave after 6 months, yeah.
Keep him going, Harry. Keep him going.
Because leaving the club means you've not got ability. Goober.
Well,
Jason Ladd has suggested 3-2 Hibs as well. So you've got someone on side, Greg. You're winning that game. And I'm going to say I like going against the grain. Ryan said it's going to be a goal fest, so I'm going to go against that. 1-0 Hibs. We'll do squeaky once again, and we'll all be crapping ourselves whilst we're penned in the back at 70 minutes onwards. And who's going to score? Paul Hanlon's going to come on as a sub and score. Why not? Let's go incredibly rogue. But boys, we have chatted nonsense as we always like to do for the past 40 minutes. Thanks so much for everybody for joining on YouTube. Thanks for everybody for listening, and we will